Stand firm in the faith. Act like men. Be strong. In today's culture, that's labeled toxic masculinity. But Scripture reveals the truth. Strength rooted in love is biblical masculinity. Make your choice. Welcome back to the Choice Podcast, episode number
75. Also affectionately known as TJ's episode.
Well, another significant 75 is the year 1775 in which the United States Marine Corps was founded in a Bar and Tun Tavern, Pennsylvania. Why is that significant, Josh?
Because
well, it's not really, except we are 250 years beyond that now and approaching our 250th date for signing that good, glorious Declaration of Independence. But we learned last episode that George Washington did not sign it. But spoiler alert, he was off fighting the war. Sucker.
That's right.
So Matty B improperly adjudicated him as an unknown Christian, but we're not really sure. So I'm sure that caused consternation.
You know what I wonder about that? I wonder as we go down these list of guys.
He's so upset right now. I wish you could see his face.
I would ask you guys this. As we go down this list of guys, let's say we're 10 guys in, we're going to have a bit of a better understanding of history and their culture at the time.
Indeed.
I wonder if we would be able to go back and say, based on all you know now, how do you now feel about this man? Now this one.
I think that should be the final wrap-up, part of the final wrap-up episode.
Like, did anything change your mind?
Yep, we go down the list.
Based on what you've learned of that cultural time.
I'm going to tell you, I learned a bunch just last episode, I'll be honest with you, and in prepping for this, which we don't generally prep, but I had to prep.
Is that a kind way of, or a gentle way of you saying you got schooled?
Yes, absolutely.
Judge, you sided with me.
He's got a point.
Which I am ashamed of myself for arguing it to such a point that he actually agreed with that opinion, which was never but we know what? We're keeping it. You said the words, which was very fancy of you, intellectually honest.
Can I kick myself off the bench?
No, you aren't. You don't have to.
I am unfit
because of
to
that.
make these
The
rulings.
judge just yelled, "Bailiff, take me away."
Bailiff, hold me in contempt.
Hold myself in. You can't hold yourself in contempt.
I hold me in contempt, Your Honor. Wait,
You ever seen Liar Liar? He held him in contempt.
Yeah, he did.
That's correct.
I hold myself in contempt.
That's right. And so that it was such a good job by the judge that we switched formats.
Well,
it's a debate.
mainly because I kept throwing a fit about I didn't like the format.
You didn't.
Well,
but
you took over the episode. Half of it's gonna be you. He didn't get a chance to speak.
I'm okay with that though. I don't mind. I like listening to Josh.
I think sometimes I have that problem. My wife might accuse me of the same thing. I know my children would.
That's good. But here's the thing about it. We aren't there yet because we got some things to talk about. Fellas, look, we told you we're still on the 5th of April. No, we're not. We're on the 6th of April. And it is now time for the astronauts of Artemis 2 to
They would
appear
be dudes in the news.
from the other side of the moon. How cool is that?
He's met the other side of New Mexico. That's so funny. He believes it.
Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist?
No.
We've never been behind the moon as a human, but the spacecraft has.
I don't know.
I don't think we have.
No, we have not. China has. China claims to have taken moon dust from the dark side and says there's energy properties in it, which baffles me.
So hold on. You said something we need to
be a
establish,
deception.
and this is important to know. You do or do not believe Joshua? What's his middle name? Michael. We're going with it. Joshua Michael Myers.
I'll give you a hint. My middle name. It starts with an I.
Ivan.
And I'm named after a famous
Isaac.
person.
Igor.
Igor? What famous person do you know with the name
He's
Igor?
Russian.
I'll bet he is.
I don't know. I couldn't get it.
You've mentioned it before, but I'm drawing a blank.
Ives.
That's
Ives,
it.
give me
That's
a break.
it.
Joshua Ives Myers. It's important we establish. Jimothy. Where'd that come from?
My initials, Jim.
Oh,
The
Jim.
the laugher JIM.
Oh, got it. Hey,
Jim.
do you or do you not believe that we landed on the moon in the 1960s?
I have so much fun with this, and here's how I'll answer your question. I will not give you a simple yes or no. I'll give you a 30-second answer. Here it is. I love conspiracy theorists that have some glimmer of something that makes you go, maybe that's true. So I love to see people's face when they're like, oh my gosh, he thinks the earth is flat. I don't. But I enjoy the look on their face, and I don't ever admit one way or the other. So in my company leadership meetings, I drive them insane because I tell them things
You
like,
talk about moon landing a lot?
I'm like, there was never a moon landing. What, we lost the technology and we can't get back there? Shut it. We know the earth is flat because in every picture there's no stars. Think about it. And they're like, I hate this guy. I hate him. But I never will change my side. And that makes them more insane.
You're today's years old in which you can set the record straight. Because none of them listen to it anyways.
I have tried to get them to. I think actually the CEO is listening every now and then.
Well, he can know. You're supposed to keep it a secret. Did we land on the moon, Josh? In your opinion?
Like you think Neil Armstrong landed on the moon? You really going to sell me on that? I'll need evidence.
I was able to convince Maddie B that George Washington wasn't a Christian.
This is another episode.
Don't be sad. Don't be sad.
We can do a moon landing episode. We can do a moon landing episode.
Okay, but not this one.
But not this
Why
one.
wouldn't it be this one? We don't have to do a whole episode.
This one is for TJ.
That's rude.
He's all upset. Way to get him.
Do I still have
Maddie
a
B.
thank you? Goodness. All right.
Let's take off with our guy.
He's like, look how hard he's laughing over there.
It's good, man.
Anyway, so here's the thing. I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. I think that's stupid fake news. We landed on the moon. Just own it. Number two, I did know a guy and he was a young sergeant. And I'll tell you his name out loud because I'll call him right now on the show, and I would love to talk to him. He's from West Virginia, the same place the Moss Man is from. I'll tell you that. That's what'll be more meaningful to you. His name's Robbie Henry. He was a sergeant of mine, and he did a great job. He was an airframer, but that sucker, for all of his positive qualities, he was adamant that the earth was flat. For years, he was very misguided. He was a good dude, still is. For years, we would text back and forth every time some stupid article or some other thing would come up. I'd text him right now and tell him the Earth's round. Oh, yeah, I'll ask him if the moon is flat. I'll do that here in a little bit because we just
You know what his
around
response will be?
Yeah, if the moon's round, how's the Earth flat?
You know what his response will be?
What?
You think the moon's real?
I'm going to, whatever. But anyways, so we would have these discussions all the time, and that's just another silly, stupid.
Here's another
fantasy.
one. Here's my other rebuttal when they come up with this, when they'll say, do you honestly think that our government could keep a secret like that? Do you really think that? And you know what my response always is?
Yeah.
Have they released the Epstein files? They can keep a secret. And it makes people lose their mind.
I just texted him.
You want me to toss that for you? Whoops. Now I'll toss it. Okay, so let's go. We have a guy that we're going to do tonight, and you're going to argue for one whatever you're going to argue about this dude. His name is affectionately TJ, and I'm going to have the dissenting view, whatever that might be. So whatever you say, I'm saying differently.
I get to be the assenter.
Let's hear it.
Fantastic. Well, I'm not quite there yet because we got to clean up. I know because this is a week after. Like they haven't had an episode for a week, so we got to remind them that we're going to change the rules a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
We went from a courtroom, which I didn't mind the courtroom. Josh hated it, and Matty B didn't. He turns out he hated it. So 2 of the 3 of us said change it. We're going to go to debate style. Can we set?
Because on this podcast, we only do things when we vote unanimously, but the rule is if 2 vote one way, the third one must vote with them. It's groupthink.
Yeah, it's like the King of England and the Church of England.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
All right. So the typical debate format
for this. Wow.
So it starts with the constructive speeches, so the affirmative and then the negative. And
No,
then
no,
the-
no. It's the assenter and the dissenter.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's the rebuttals. And then the
Rebuttals.
cross-examination. So, yeah.
Okay. So a center.
Write that on. Can you write that behind you?
Here, I
I
can
won't
just take
remember
it.
all that.
I can just take a screenshot and just send it to you.
No, no, write it right there. We'll have because it'll be there for all of show eternity, and that could be 3 episodes or 3 days. Who knows? 3 years. I don't know.
I'm going to write the typical time breakdown
Okay.
so you can
I'm
know
gonna-
how much
yeah.
you're going over.
As you're doing it, I will give play-by-play. So right now, I think he's just adjusting his seat. I'm not sure. No, he got up. He got back down. He found a marker. He's writing on the board. He thinks he needs more room,
So
apparently.
Matty B, are we
'Cause he's
gonna
erasing lines on the board.
give the assenter like you have 120 seconds to make your initial?
5 minutes.
Oh,
5
okay.
minutes, that's
5
So
minutes.
pro-constructive, which is the assenter, is 5 minutes. And then the assenter can cross-examine them. And
5
then,
minutes.
Yeah. No, 3 minutes. 3 minutes for the cross-examination. And then you give, or the center gives their...
We're not ever following these rules.
No, I know
That's
you're
why I
not,
still
so
gotta-
that's why I don't even want to write it down.
Yeah, don't write it down.
So
you just start
I
with your
make a
5
case,
minutes.
and he's allowed to challenge it.
And then
within.
we can-
Then
then we
he
can
makes a
just-
case. I challenge him.
Yep, and then you rebuttal, and then he rebuttals.
Okay, and then you vote.
Yep.
Oh, we'll see how this goes. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna hate this.
It's also called a Lincoln Douglas.
Okay. All right. So
Suck
we
it,
are
chump.
here's. So I will tell you that.
Put that in your Thanksgiving
I will say
turkey.
this, and so if anybody that thinks like we just knew all this stuff, that's not true. Here's how we get to this. We actually, here's a little pro tip, by the way. You can reverse engineer Chat GPT prompts or AI prompts to get it to do what you want by asking it questions. And then when you're done asking questions, what would you do for this? What would you do for that? What would you do here? How would
Sure.
you do this? And when you're done, say, of all the things we just talked about, create me a prompt that I can put in one time and put the name of the individual, and you give me all the information we just talked about. And then so that's what I did. And so AI has been giving us like some of this background information just to kind of collate it for us. And here's the first line it said about Thomas Jefferson. I said, Thomas Jefferson, go. And it said, absolutely, Jefferson is one of the best episodes in the whole series because he's an extremely strong founding father case and a much more complicated Christian case. So I didn't mean to dissuade you, Judge. I'm just telling you, that's what.
I'm not a judge.
So prep yourselves for the next, who knows how long. It took way longer to get through Washington, but we saw that coming. And so this is going to be a wild ride. And I think my good friend Josh has some tricks up his Thomas Jefferson sleeve, which they had to have worn sleeves. They weren't short sleeve guys. So he probably had sleeves. Up his Thomas Jefferson sleeve that I am not aware of, that I am apparently going to have to retort. But before we get into that, let's talk about who he was. Thomas Jefferson.
Break down the history.
Full name, Thomas Jefferson. No weird middle name like Ives or Ivy
What?
or Hives. Born, he hated that. Sorry, Josh, I love you. Born April 13th, 1743 in Virginia, another Virginian. The last guy, George Washington, was born in the county we're sitting in right now.
We
Stafford.
are living in his boyhood home.
Guess when Thomas Jefferson died? I didn't know this till just now. July 4th. 1826. He lived a lot longer than Washington. Washington died in like 1799 or something.
With his wooden teeth.
His stupid wooden teeth. How could you even eat?
You get splinters in your tongue.
Jefferson's primary identities were lawyer, planter, political thinker, revolutionary statesman, diplomat, governor of Virginia, secretary of state, vice president, and third president of the United States.
Boom.
Public image, principal author of the Declaration of Independence, one of the clearest intellectual voices of the American founding. What he did, drafted the Declaration of Independence.
Can we stop there for 1 second? I think right there, off what we just heard, we can all agree he squarely fits a founding father.
You know, I'm going to argue that?
How do you?
Well, we're going to try.
There's no way to.
Don't try to get out of this. I had to argue that George Washington was not a founding father. You are not getting off that easy.
Okay, bring it.
I'll argue both sides if I have to. I'm prepped for that. What he did, drafted the Declaration of Independence, served in the Continental Congress, wrote the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom, helped define the moral and political language of rights. That's the good part. That's interesting. Served as a minister to France, first Secretary of State. We said the other things. All right. I'm not going to get into what he's known for because we're going to talk about that. So the first debate, Joshua, not trial anymore, is whether or not he was a founding father.
Okay.
Here's who he wasn't. He wasn't a dominant battlefield leader, and he was one of the most but he was one of the most powerful public figures in the early republic. So here we go. I get to make the case that he was a founding father, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's some of the other things
That he was.
That he was.
Yeah.
So I've kind of been doing that already. What some of the other things he did was wrote the first draft of the Declaration of Independence. That's a pretty big deal. Signed the Declaration as a Virginia delegate. He served as a governor of Virginia during the Revolution. That's not a great argument. Wrote the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom. That's where we'll get to next. But trial one, was he a founder? Here's the thing. I've got 4 major points. Number one, or 1A. All right. Principal author of the Declaration of Independence first draft, which makes his role stronger than that of many others. There's debate or topic number 1B. Not only that, the Declaration Rights language, he was a creator language, equality language, and consent of the governed are central to how Americans understand the nation's political origin story. So if you're saying founding, what are we founded on and what is our beliefs? That man added the creator language, the equality language, and the consent of the governed language, which was a big deal. And our man Thomas, turns out, was a big writer, but we'll get to that in a second. He served in the Continental Congress and then as the governor of Virginia during a wartime period of which Virginia was a central role played. His revolutionary leadership was more political than intellectual, but in times of war, Josh, you don't just need people on the battlefield. You need people who are also spinning the public narrative, because we know as military folks, if you lose the court of public opinion, you've lost the war strategically on the home front.
That's important.
To me, is as key as getting out there and being on the front lines, is having people back here to keep the people informed and on the side of right. You understand what I'm saying so far?
Oh, I don't think it lines up, but I understand.
You're allowed to argue. And then
I will.
He gave the revolutionary, and then he gave the revolutionary cause moral vocabulary, which is what I'm telling you, and philosophical coherence. All right, major author and influence. And this is where Jefferson is the strongest, I think. Okay, let me rephrase that. This is where Jefferson is the strongest, period.
Okay, I like it. I like how you own it.
He was the principal author of the Declaration, which alone would almost settle the question, which it did in the intro. We settled it in the intro by accident because we're not good at this. Maddie, edit that out. He also wrote the Virginia Statute for, no, you wouldn't, for religious freedom, which had a long-term influence on American ideas about conscience, establishment, and rights. I might actually go reread that. He shaped the founding not just by his office, but by language, which is what the point I've been making. And lastly, the bonus criteria, my good friend, was, did he hold national level political leadership? He was the Secretary of State, the Vice President, and the President. That's it. And did he have major philosophical influence? I already told you that he shaped the ideas of liberty, equality, natural rights, and religious freedom. And was he recognized by contemporaries? Well, his name was already nationally prominent in the Revolutionary era and remained central to the early American public. So, my final point is this. Jefferson satisfies the Founding Father test in almost every direction. He signed a founding document, authored the most famous one, Declaration of Independence, influenced the founding political language at the highest level, and then remained central to the early national government. If Washington was the indispensable wartime leader, Jefferson has to be one of the indispensable architects of the founding creed. I rest my Founding Fathers case.
Now, I'm going to do something that's going to make me feel slimy and try to tell you that the author of the Declaration of Independence was not a founding father. So please, forgive me for my heresy and hold on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen. Your friend that you are trying to prop up in this honorable courtroom, Thomas Jefferson, was not even physically present during monumental founding moments. Jefferson was in France during major parts of the constitutional period. What do we know about the French? They're weenies. That's what we know.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's where he was hanging out.
Quitters.
So if you weren't there when the nation was formed, were you even a founder? Next point. He didn't fight in the war. I'm not saying it's a requirement, but unlike George Washington, Jefferson wasn't a battlefield general, and founders, you would think, would have risked a little bit more, maybe had a little more skin in the game than being some uppity lifelong politician. 3, he was more of a philosopher than a founder, okay? Jefferson wrote and theorized more than he governed during the Revolution. Writers don't found nations. Actions found nations. He was just a politician. We've seen those today. Career politicians, kind of slimy folks. The real founding of the Constitution, not the Declaration. Jefferson's biggest contribution was the Declaration of Independence. But I would say this. You contradicted yourself, good sir. You started by saying he wrote the first draft. What does it mean if a document is a draft? It means alterations are made to correct it. Then you came back and said he was the principal author of the draft. You left that part out. 3 important words, folks. Of the draft. The one with all the errors. He also was known to have an aide that corrected and cleaned his writings. So, he borrowed ideas instead of created them. Many of Jefferson's ideas came from Enlightenment thinkers like John Locke.
Welcome to philosophy.
He was absent during key debates. He missed major constitutional convention debates. So you could say you can't be a founder if you weren't in the room when the conversation about foundings were happening. He contradicted the founding principles. Critics point to contradictions like slavery versus all men are created equal. If you didn't live the principles, you weren't a founder. He was a diplomat, not a founder. He spent critical years where? Abroad. When? During the tough times. Hamming it up over in France. Wee wee poo poo. That's what he was about. He represented America.
We're back on bidets now.
We went right back to bidets. He represented America, but he didn't build it. And when he did build things like the first mistake-filled draft of the Declaration of Independence, we had people to come in, correct his mistakes, change language, and make it more suitable to be a founding document as opposed to just a Jefferson misspeak. He's just far too radical to be a founder. Some contemporaries saw his ideas as extremely extreme. Founders
extremely extreme.
Stabilize.
You getting paid for this debate?
Radicals dispute.
Whatever it is too much.
My last thing is the term founding fathers is subjective anyway. There's no official list. And any guy that would try to bracket it off and make a list
we made it.
is an idiot. That would be me.
Guilty.
So
both of us.
That was the best I could do to say that he's not a founding
You're
father.
not
The
allowed
dude's
to
a
argue.
founding father.
Not
Come
yet.
on.
Oh, come on.
That was my best.
Oh, that was actually pretty good, except it wasn't incredibly compelling. But you did your best. You earned your money as a defense lawyer.
I mean, the dude wrote the Declaration of Independence. How do you say he's not a founding father?
Was a president.
He was also, I don't know, just a president of the United States.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. Maybe one of the first 5 were founded. But anyways, he was an early president. Yeah. And Yep. I mean, here's about what I was gonna until you argue with yourself just now. I was going to come back with this. If England would have found him at post Declaration of Independence, would they have killed him?
Oh, he'd have hung.
He'd have hung. Therefore,
he would have arguably been one of the chief hanging folks.
Chief hanging guy.
They'd have hung him higher.
Therefore, if England's going to hang you for what you did,
you're probably a founder.
You're probably a founder.
You were probably leading it.
Yeah. So with that being said, he checked all 6 boxes. He's a founding father.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna move on.
I gave my best according to our rules. I gave my best, even though I didn't.
Honestly, you did.
I didn't believe a word of it.
Made up.
He was. I mean, look. Even ChatGPT said, "Okay, understand that these are the most ridiculous stretches to try to say that the chief founding father wasn't a founding father, but I'll give it a shot." I mean, even it said you're an idiot for asking me this.
That's fine. Okay. Hey,
here comes the real debate.
Are you trying to taint the crowd?
No, I have no. I don't know anything.
Jury, please strike that.
There is no jury.
You're right. You're
debate.
Right. Crowd.
But this debate has a This debate moderator has a gavel.
That's right.
Gavel, not gravel.
This is
Probably
a kangaroo court,
too.
boys. We make up the rules
As we go sometimes. As we go.
This is all behind the scenes. And
if y'all don't know how the show operates, I don't think you've listened to all 75 episodes. 74.
no one has listened to all
two.
75 yet.
Exactly.
If you've listened to 2, you've figured out the silliness of this.
Idiots.
Yeah.
We will
Let's
go off the rails.
Let's go
every
with it.
episode.
So from the same guys who argue whether or not birds can smell, you should really believe everything we say about the founding fathers.
Without question and without looking it up. Because
they're going to start to question our belief system here in a second.
I know it.
I think we don't have to convince them of our belief system because the gospel will do it for them.
There you
Absolutely.
go.
All right.
So now we're venturing in on
Speaking
your
of belief
5
systems.
minutes of whatever you believe about Jefferson being a Christian. Let's hear it.
I'm actually gonna keep. I'm gonna try to keep you on pace here.
Oh, you're
Let's
gonna keep
go.
on pace?
I'm gonna try.
All right.
No promises here.
I get extra points if I go under 5.
No, you don't. You get the same amount of points. So use your time wisely.
Dang.
All right. All right. Okay, here we go.
Boundaries are steep.
I am about
it's
to.
It's an even playing field.
This is actually, I don't know. And didn't know where, I thought I knew where Washington was going to go, and I clearly didn't. But I really, we'll say again, I do not know where we'll land on this, Josh. Because again, I did not prep for the defense, so I don't know what you have brought to the argument. I've only prepped the argument that he is a Christian, okay?
You will land with what I say in the end because I'm right. That's why I believe it.
All right. So I will give you a warning when half your time is gone.
I can see the clock.
You should say a minute.
Well, no, I have a timer right here.
Oh, you do?
too. Yeah.
Do we have a great sound effects for that?
No, but I can make you. I can get
Like a
one.
ding, or is that the end?
That could be the buzzer's the end.
Just hold the whiteboard up that says 1 minute remaining.
Okay, that works.
And you got to walk around the table.
Yeah. Around the entire table.
Yeah, like they do at a boxing match.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't pay me enough for that.
That's fair.
That's probably true.
All right, so I am about to argue the point for
All right, I'm gonna give you a countdown. All right, you ready?
Thomas Jefferson being a Christian.
All right,
Yeah, go
3,
ahead.
2, 1, go.
All right, as I usually try and do, I'm going to take out the vertical pronouns, as is usually done in a good debate, which you're trying to make. I will bring 4 pillars to this debate, my good friends. Pillar number 1, confession. We started at 28. Pillar number 1 is confession. Sometime Jefferson used the term Christian or Christianism in reference to the moral system taught by Jesus, which gives the affirmative case something to work with. That's me. All right, so that's the foundation. He used those terms, and we already know he's a prolific writer, so we can use some of his writings which say Christian or Christianism.
Mostly drafts.
And he did not present himself as an atheist. He believed in a rational and benevolent creator and saw moral truth in the teaching of Jesus. Therefore, he's not an atheist. He said that. He's not an agnostic because he said that he believes in a creator that goes up to past theist because a creator is a single. All right, a creator, but then he's creator, but then he goes right past that to Christian because he mentions, Josh, and I'm pointing at the wall if you're not watching, he was right to saying, he saw moral truth in the teachings of Jesus. He acknowledged it. Those words left his pen or his lips. He said the word Jesus, and he likes his teachings. There you go. He's a Christian. That's my first argument. Pillar number 2, reputation. Okay. He was not a simple enemy of religion. In fact, he defended religious liberty, if you were to go back to the original document, and took religion seriously enough to make sure he included those writings and your religious freedom that you enjoy and I enjoy and Maddie B enjoys today in the Declaration and Constitution. Well, I don't know which it's in, but it's in one of the two. All right, number 3. You all right?
Yeah, I'm going to lose this argument fast if I can't plug my computer in with a quickness.
All right, number 3. Matt, you helping him out? You got a plug over there? Oh, yeah, look at you.
Thanks, Matt.
Number 3, doctrine. The best affirmative spin is not orthodoxy. It is that Jefferson accepted God, providential order, moral accountability, and the moral authority of Jesus' teaching, which makes him more, Josh, than a secular believer. He treated the teachings of Jesus as the highest moral code, which is stronger than merely saying Christianity was socially useful, quote unquote. All right. Number 4. He read, studied, and even edited the Gospels for moral use, meaning clearly the gospel is the good news. That's what that stands for. So he went there, he read, and he wrote, okay? He knew Jesus. He read about what he did. If he didn't care about that, okay, he used him as a moral baseline. He wouldn't be using him as a moral baseline if he didn't believe in Jesus and what he did. Okay, you're gonna kill me on this one. I know what you're gonna say. But anyways, therefore he's in the Gospels, in the good news, not just the Old Testament. He's not a deist. Mm-hmm. He is squarely in the line of Christianity. Mm-hmm. All right. So here's my points to close it out. He believed in God, not atheism. That excludes that. Admired and elevated Jesus' moral teachings. Above all others, he used Christian language at times about his own convictions. He wrote a lot about that. Took religion seriously and defended freedom of conscience vigorously. He could plausibly be called Christian only if the label is broadly used and heterodoxly. So this is my closing point with 30 seconds left. My best case is not that Jefferson was an Orthodox Christian. It is that he was a real believer in God who consciously identified with the moral teachings of Jesus and saw those teachings as uniquely sublime. Under a broad heterodox definition, he can be presented as Christian in an ethical and rational sense. I rest my case. How many seconds I have left? 23. That was all right. We'll take it.
Okay, I'll smoke you in half that time. Just kidding. Just kidding. Right. I've never been known or accused of being brief.
You want 3 or 5 minutes?
5.
5? All righty then.
Do I get a vote in this?
Yeah, right.
No.
Okay.
All right.
Those were some interesting points.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Started.
Those were interesting points, Eric. My takeaway with them, or my issue I take with them, is they weren't complete.
Okay.
So all I'm going to do is give you a topic that I take issue with and a quote where he speaks of that topic. Stand by.
Noted.
Denier of the divinity of Jesus. Quote, to talk of immaterial existence is to talk of nothing. Jesus never meant to impose himself on mankind as the Son of God. Oops.
That's a quote from Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, stand by, there's more. Rejected the Trinity. Quote, the hocus pocus fantasism of a godlike another cherubus, I don't know what that is, with one body and 3 heads, had its birth in the delirium of crazy imaginations. Record scratch. Denies the resurrection. I'm going to come back to because it's more my closing. rejected the miracles of the Bible. The day will come when the mystical generation of Jesus will be classed with other fables of the generation.
I feel like a Pharisee said that somewhere around Acts.
His name was Thomas Jefferson. Jesus equals a moral teacher, but not a savior. Quote, I am a Christian.
He said that?
Quote, I am a Christian. In the only sense in which he wished anyone to be, sincerely attached to his doctrines in preference to all others. Interesting. Attached to teachings, but not worship of Christ. Rejected atonement, salvation doctrine. There is no one redeeming feature. This makes me sick to read some of these. There is not one redeeming feature in our superstition of Christianity. It has been perverted into an engine for enslaving mankind.
This is one of those. Well, this whole series is one of those series where, like, I sure hope people don't clip random things and, like, put them off as or exclamatory statements, because without context, you know what I mean? If you just hopped in like at minute 45, you'd be like, hold on a second. Or minute 36.
Criticized organized Christianity in every country and in every age.
How much time has he got left? 1 minute and 35 seconds.
I want my time back, Your Honor. In every country and every age, the priest has been hostile to liberty.
Okay. You going back to resurrection yet?
Deistic view of God. Fix reason firmly in her seat and call her tribunal every fact, every opinion. Reason, not revelation, is final authority. Okay, I'm going to end with saying he created his own version of Christianity. This is speaking about constructing his edited gospel. I have performed this operation for my own use, cutting verse by verse out of this printed book. I have so much more to say about that, but I rest my case.
You have a minute.
Okay. I can't. That's it.
So hold on. So this is where we debate. So you're saying, he does or doesn't believe in the resurrection?
No, does not.
Okay. And are you saying, what you're also saying was, which I learned, he has his own version of the Gospels. True. And what did he cut out of the version?
Okay. Now you can't hold me to my 1 minute on this. We're
now we're in debate mode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't argue this in good faith against you on this because I have an opinion here. Okay. What did he cut out? First, let's be clear.
I was actually just
First, let's be very clear. It is known as the Jefferson Bible, and that is not true. That is a later title that he never gave it. The title he gave it was the Moral Teachings of Jesus of Nazareth. Now, what Jefferson had an issue with was every miracle and every supernatural event. He felt, now here's what's really confusing. He cut out the virgin birth. So he did the four Gospels, basically, just the four Gospels.
Which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Think about this.
First four books of the New Testament.
Right. Think about this. If you didn't have a computer and you couldn't edit, cut and paste, but you had a physical book and a razor blade. He cut out out of the four Gospels. He's reading them clearly and cuts out every miracle, anything supernatural. Jesus turned water into wine, whoosh, cut it out. He didn't like the supernatural.
Regardless of witnesses,
he cut it out.
That's bizarre.
He said Mary and Joseph got married and they had a baby. Done. Jesus died and they buried him in a tomb. Done. That's what so he cut out all the miraculous. What is perplexing is he loved the teachings of Jesus, the moral teachings of Jesus. Do you know why he did the cutting out thing? Which I would argue is more biblical work and study than most Christians do today.
True.
The reason he did it was he was afraid, being a realist, he was afraid that believers and authors of the Bible and followers of Christ added superstition and these miraculous things that didn't line up with his realist view. So he basically wanted to look at the Bible as a self-study tool meant for no one else originally. It was for him. To look at those four Gospels void of any superstition, void of any miraculous, supernatural, miraculous healings, just of his teaching. So think about this. Water into wine, you're out of there. Walking on water, Peter, you're out of there. The prodigal son? Oh, I like that teaching. Nothing miraculous here. There's good teaching. So that's very interesting. And keep in mind, this was at a time where a lot of these guys were very tainted by a screwed up orthodoxy religion, orthodoxical?
Whatever it is,
orthodoxical religion
nice.
From England.
Yeah, forced upon them.
So they were trying to say, I want to clean this up. I want this faith.
We want freedom of religion.
Yeah.
But we're trying not to do what we just left.
So they were very critical of it.
Not because they were anti-Christian, but more so it seems because they were trying to, because they were pretty smart fellas, allow freedom of expression in religion.
Yeah.
Which is what they were fighting for, right?
Yeah. So
interesting.
Let's turn this. How about we do this? Based on what we just heard who he was. We all agreed he's a founding father, and we just heard an assenting and dissenting view. How about we go around the table right now and talk about where do you honestly feel he falls? Keeping in mind, Christian is tied to a Protestant faith or a Catholic faith. Deist believes in a creator God who is no longer involved with creation. Theist believes in multiple gods. Agnostic, doesn't understand, doesn't know, doesn't even think about it. Or atheist, no God at all. What do you think?
Well,
anybody's thoughts?
Let's start at the bottom.
Anyone with going for atheist? I say absolutely not.
Yeah, we're tossing atheist. He wasn't a there is no God, right?
Would you agree, Matt? No, he can't be atheist, right?
Cannot be atheist.
Okay. No. Agnostic means they're uncertain if there's anything like a God. They have no idea.
Throw that out too.
I don't think we're there.
I agree. Throw it out.
Toss it in the long grass.
Theist, there you go.
I like
Theist
that.
means he thinks there's a God of the sun, a God of the wind, a God of the rain. Hindu maybe. Could be two gods, could be 2 million.
He believed in the teaching. Yeah.
I can't say
I don't
theist.
see it. I don't see the evidence for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, deist.
Yeah.
This is where the argument comes in. Deist or Christian? I mean, so we're now in like just regular back to podcast mode and figuring this out.
Yeah.
Well,
we know he believed in a God.
He literally said he rejected Christ's divinity. Even if I don't have a certain way, but I'm leaning there, but I'm just saying it out loud. So even if he was cutting the Gospels apart, which is heresy, but even if he was doing that for a study portion on morality because he wanted to include that type of language in the Constitution or the Declaration, like even if he was doing that, because he's like, I don't want it to say Christ things or the miraculous, because I want this founding document to be something people can lean on.
Now, keep in mind, he wanted the Christ teachings in there. The title was the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth. He liked and
even if
he followed the life of, he elevated the life of Christ.
But even if we give him the benefit of the doubt on that particular topic, cutting the stuff out, he still unequivocally stated that he rejected Christ's divinity and he rejected the resurrection. How are you a Christian if you do not believe in Easter Sunday? What you say?
So what I looked at, so the goal of what he did was to strip away what he called the corruptions of Christianity.
He thought all of those miraculous things were corrupting
unleathered
the real
apostles.
Bible. I mean, you say something
what's that
like,
got to do with rejecting Christ's divinity, though? You know, like what's that got to do with rejecting the resurrection?
He at one point
you
he
can't
called
reject
it
Okay, go ahead.
metaphysical abstraction, or whatever that
I
made
don't-
no sense to a rational mind.
Name a church in America today that's an actual, a rational, reasonable church in America that we all would agree is a Christian church in large, that if you walked in and said, I do not believe in the resurrection and I do not believe that Christ was part of the triune God,
Right.
that you would, even in today's society, and we're way less strict than they were, can be even a member of that church.
Well, let's ask this. If you would go to
I wish Garrett was here to
whatever
I'd be like, Garrett, I'm gonna walk in and say these things. What are you gonna say in response? He's gonna say,
what? Yeah.
Let's have a
So
conversation.
how about you say this? Thomas Jefferson walks in today with his funny clothes and says, Pastor Garrett, I want to be a member of Choice Baptist Church. And he says, do you understand the Gospels, the Trinity, and the atonement of Christ? And he says, the Trinity, quote, do you mean the hocus pocus fantasism of a God like another cherubim with one body and three heads had a birth in the delirium of crazy imaginations? That Trinity? No, but I want to be in your church.
Huh.
I think most pastors of most Bible-believing church would take issue.
I agree. Would you agree?
Yeah,
Matthew
so
Bravo?
I looked up one thing in a
It makes me sad
relapse
for his
into
eternal
I
salvation.
hate
polytheism.
it, dude.
He
didn't
argued
expect
that
this.
by dividing God into three persons, the church had essentially abandoned monotheism and reverted to a form of paganism.
Okay, that's a great point, Matt. So we know that theist, meaning more than one God, cannot be.
Absolutely.
Because you just said he was afraid that
He argued, the
that
church had essentially abandoned.
a triune God makes them polytheistic.
Oh, I see.
So he was more of one God, not a
Back to a
Trinity.
deist.
So we're now the two we have are deist or Christians. Where do they fall?
It's not Christian. He can't be Christian.
Absolutely.
So
not.
what do you guys say?
He's a believer in a God. It appears.
Okay.
And theist is one or more.
Okay.
So he could be a theist or a deist.
He can't be theist. He said he wouldn't even believe in the Trinity because he was afraid it turns into more than one God.
Okay, back to deist. So we're on deist.
Is that what you say, Matt?
That's kind of where I'm leaning.
You ready for my hot take on this?
Oh, you setting us up like the lot conversation?
Not a setup.
All right, go for it.
I just didn't want my weird thoughts to sway you.
Or we feeling agnostic?
Nope.
Now let's see what
Nope.
he has to say. Apparently
This
nothing.
is yeah. Apparently he got stuck.
He's speechless.
My daughter would say that you glitched.
The lag was real right there.
Okay. Okay. I say
It was not your radios.
I'm going to scratch deist, and here's why.
Whoa.
Because he was so in love with the Word of God, so much so that he took the time to go through it. Oh, it's tough. I could be wrong here. Because a deist doesn't just mean he's not Christian. It means that he believes God created the earth and then backed off and had nothing to do with you. Why would he want anything to do with a God like that? The devotion he had to whatever weird
God
faith.
like that wouldn't represent morality.
Mm-hmm.
So a God, you're right. God like that wouldn't represent reality in the way
Right.
that Jefferson chased it.
So here's my thing. You can write this on the board as the weird one-off sixth category.
Oh, wow. I know about all that. Okay, go ahead.
So don't flip out when I say these two words, but he is some version
Christian deist.
of a Jew-leaning Christian.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Now, here's why I say that. So follow me on this, guys. One of the biggest differences in Jews and Christianity is they believe the Old Testament. They don't believe in Jesus.
Well, no, they believe he existed.
They believe he existed,
but not. He's not.
but he was not the
a
Messiah.
prophet only.
Right.
And that's
There's a
kind
name
of
for that, and there's Messianic Jews.
Yeah,
They
that's it.
believe Jesus is the prophet. But it's not perfect Judaism, okay? Because Judaism do believe in miracles. but they believe mostly Old Testament, less to no Jesus, less to absolutely none of Jesus. He loved Jesus and Jesus's teachings above everything. He didn't like the miracle thing. I think he falls in this weird place that's not Jew, that's not Christian, but it's somewhere in between the two that doesn't fit squarely.
Yeah, I'm looking at something that says he didn't want to throw the Bible away. He wanted to, quote unquote, clean it up.
Yeah, right. I don't like that.
I don't like it either, but it is what it is.
So what are we going to write down here?
I guess he's a Thomas Jeffersonian.
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 No, was that the Smithsonian?
Smithsonian
was named by a guy named Smith.
I think we're right to say a Christian-leaning deist, but
I don't know.
The reason I say Jew-leaning Christian is because it just encapsulates something a little bit different. But here's the whole point, guys. Here's the whole point. Was this dude a man of faith? I would say he absolutely was. Do I agree with his faith? No. But was he a man of faith? Absolutely. I think it was a little twisted.
Okay.
But I think he was a huge founding father, wildly influential, author of the Declaration, and he did not want what he believed to be a fake faith. He was trying to look for a real faith.
So far, in 2 episodes, now as we wrap this up, we've established that our founding fathers are in fact who they say they were as founding fathers. We have failed in 2 instances so far, if the verdict was to be cast today. We have failed to prove that this country that we love was founded on founded by Christians. Yeah. On Christian ideals, we could say that. We could not say so far it was founded by Christians explicitly.
Based on the crazy criteria and the high bar we set for a Christian.
In our kangaroo court.
Yeah. I mean,
we're trying to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Bro, we have not achieved that threshold.
I think we absolutely did on Washington. And I think if Thomas Jefferson were walking the streets today, the far crazy atheist left would group him in with radical Christianity. They wouldn't give a rip that he didn't believe that water can turn into wine. They wouldn't give a rip that he didn't think Peter walked on water. The dude still says conservative values, moral lessons from the Bible. Come on.
Can I just say it out loud that I hate the conclusions we've come to? What you got, Matty B?
So I did some researching, and so this is what Thomas Jefferson wrote to John Adams in 1813. We must reduce our value to the simple evangelists, select even from them the very words only of Jesus. There will be found remaining the most sublime and benevolent code of morals which have ever been offered to man. I have performed this operation for my own use by cutting verse by verse out of the printed book and arranged them in the matter which is evidently his and which is as easy distinguishable as diamonds in a dunghill.
Okay, now I would say this. I'm falling more into Christian. And here's what I'm going to say. Please forgive me on the podcast, a very bastardized version of Christianity, but it is the closest one that it aligns with. I don't think it meets our pillars of Christianity and in our belief structure.
Who's our?
Our.
Yeah,
like,
who
like
the
three
of us here, just us.
Just
like
us.
Our criteria.
Or even the average Christian's thought. I think he is as Christian as a Mormon would be.
You know what
I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's screwed up, but it closer aligns with that than anything else. And he would be hated by atheists for his faith in God. It's sad for me to read that, but that's where it goes. But here's the thing. You asked me to comb through lists of founding fathers and narrow it down to a good handful of them. I purposefully, when I looked through there, I purposefully looked for ones that were controversial, that were difficult, and that didn't always line with my views. I don't want this to be, hey, we gamed the game here.
Yeah, like
And
boring.
Look at me with my 12 guys that I made sure were
You take
easy.
this and prove it. No, hold on. Yeah, we're trying to be real.
I'm trying to.
This is
because he was still, regardless of who they were, regardless of where they fall on here, they were still influential, and they're worth noting.
well, yeah. And again, we've said this before on here. Like, we're not trying to tell you what to think. We're trying to demonstrate a way how to think. And so, this is the same. This is the court of Eric's public opinion, but I feel like we should, if we're going to, this is our term of the evening, be intellectually honest. We ought to take the same type of rigor that we're applying to these founding fathers and apply it to Scripture. Go find out, and what I mean by that is go find out who wrote it, where it came from, what the context was, what's the point that they wrote at the beginning. And so all this will make you actually more active in the Word, and it will actually increase and sharpen your ability to defend it, because it's going to represent itself quite well, Josh.
You know what else is really rough about quotes I read? None of them reference what time of his life, what changed. Because listen, you can take about any Christian I ever met, and if I say, hey, could you have ever been caught before you came to the Lord, before you gave your life, saying something that would have been considered completely anti-biblical and heresy?
Great point. And here's another thing. We do as Americans that, you're right, that's a good point. And the answer is obviously they're men. That's the thing I was going to get to next. As Americans, we fall in Bible-believing, red-blooded, 4th of July is your favorite holiday Americans, okay?
Yeah.
We fall into the trap of holding these gentlemen, these men, these founding fathers, so we call them, on a pedestal.
Sure.
And we lift them up and we say, they were our founding fathers. They must have been perfect. We forget, and we have proven tonight that, incidentally, by the way, we have proven that they're still human.
Yeah.
And they're not perfect, and they've got some things wrong, and they're just like we are. And you're going to go find things, you just made this point, in our past, or things we've written on social media in college or other goofy things, right? Where like, that guy's not a Christian. And then and someone in the future would say, but wait, they had a podcast or some crazy thing like that. And they would sit down, they could sit down and they could argue both sides of the coin. When in reality, we should be judged. I mean, we have to keep that in mind as while we go through this, because we are cherry picking certain things, right? We're not experts on any of these guys.
Yeah.
Not even anywhere close to that. And so it's another friendly reminder, just like the men of the Bible that we've studied. They're just men, and we're flawed, and we're broken, and we have inadequacies, and we have things that we're going to do and say that make us look like the people that don't rate the grace and the mercy that we've been given. And these guys are no different.
Yeah.
So give them some slack. But that's the point. We're not attacking Jefferson here.
No.
We're simply trying to discern if he meets our goofy kangaroo court criteria, so we can, by the end of this series, establish,
were these founding fathers believers in a creator God that were following Christian principles and faiths, or were they in fact some other thing, deist, theist, agnostic, or atheist?
That's it.
And then we'll take these questions a little further later, but that's what we're doing right now. And I think that's good. I think it was a fair assessment of Jefferson.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think he really falls deist. I don't think he really falls Christian. A little more Christian than anything else, but it's definitely got some flawed theology that I can't be okay with.
Well, he didn't follow Islam, and he clearly didn't follow Judaism explicitly, and he didn't follow Hinduism. So
it was closer to Christianity.
That leads you back into it's somewhere around Christianity.
Yeah, and it's messed up because there are some huge pillar moments of the Christian faith that he will not agree to. So it's like, golly, is this like Christian light?
It's so goofy, yeah.
Or like Christian twisted and wrong? Probably. That may be the better answer, is Jefferson is Christian twisted and wrong. But, because other Christians would take issue with him.
Yeah.
But everyone who's atheist, agnostic, theist, or deist would have major issues with him because for them, he's too Christian. For the Christians, he ain't Christian. You know, it's really
we
weird.
Are not being happy again.
It's really weird.
Perfect. Yeah, all right.
But meanwhile, the guy was searching for faith.
Who's next? Not tonight, but like who are we doing? I think it's
Adams and Franklin.
Franklin, yeah. Yeah, and I don't
John
remember
Adams,
which
Sam
order.
Adams.
Sam
Adams.
John? I don't know.
I don't recall.
Actually, I do know because I have it in here. The next two we're going to do are littering and... All right. I have it right here. Benjamin Franklin and Samuel Adams. All right. And there you have it, folks. All right. Hey, on this episode, we did in fact establish, or we attempted to establish, whether or not Thomas Jefferson was a founding father and whether or not he was a Christian. So you can decide whether or not we got it right or we got it wrong.
And let us know, because you can't be mad at us for getting it wrong if you're not willing to correct us.
Yeah, so shoot us an email.
Just know that if you're not willing to correct us, you agree with us.
That's correct.
By default.
For that executive summary, that you are welcome to write us into the choicepodcastshow@gmail.com and tell us your opinions and tell us what we missed and then let us know if there's somebody you want to cover that we didn't mention. But who was Thomas Jefferson? He was a Virginia statesman, a writer, a political thinker whose influence on the founding came especially through his pen and his ideas. What he did was draft and sign the Declaration of Independence, served in the Revolutionary leadership, wrote the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom, and later held major national office, the presidency. Best case that he was a founding father was that he satisfies the signer, author, influencer, and national leadership criteria overwhelmingly. Best case against overstatement is he was not a Constitution signer and not a battlefield founder in the Washington mold. The best case he was a Christian was that he believed in God, valued Jesus' moral teachings deeply, and can be described as religious and broadly Christian in an ethical sense. But best case he was not is that he rejected core Christian doctrines, including miracles, resurrection, atonement, and Christ's divinity. So there you go. You can come up with your own opinions on that one, and we might have got some right, we might have got some wrong. But either way, Josh, I will tell you this. He is a good reminder, my friend, that men of the world follow trends, that men of the faith, like the founding fathers and the religious freedom that they gave us in the Constitution, right? And they wrote throughout the Declaration of Independence, is the reason that they set up this brand new country over across the pond. They, my good friend, follow truth.
And whether you like it or not, Thomas Jefferson was looking for truth. You can't deny that the man was looking. So make your choice.